other people accountable if we're not accountable ourselves. So we're going to talk about how our habits are literally shaping our lives. There are two principles that shape your life: your belief system and your habits. I tell people you have to get over your own BS, and that's belief systems. And the second thing, you have to own your habits. And the last thing is we're going to talk about connecting with the right circles. One thing that I've learned, and these are, I'm working on a book now called 10 Big Mistakes I Made Before I Was 30, How to Avoid Them. I just turned 40 in September. I know I look great. Stop. But I just turned 40 in September, and I've learned that there's some things that if I knew in my 20s, I wouldn't have jacked up my life so bad. And one of them was learning the difference between quality people and qualified people. There's a big difference. Quality people that there are people in your life, they're quality, they're great people, but they may not possess the skill set. They may not be qualified to help you along in your business or your personal life. So we're going to deal with that. As a leader, we cannot fear success. I read an article a couple of years ago in Success Magazine, and they were talking to CEOs of top companies that were high-producing, high-caliber companies. And the amazing thing was these guys didn't fear recession or cutbacks as much as they feared being found out as not being qualified. I thought that was really interesting. When they got right down to the brass tacks of it and asked them, what are some things that concern you? These guys were worried about this fear, in essence, of success. Because one thing, when you start becoming successful in a particular position, the expectations change. It's kind of like that first time you tie your shoe. It's a celebration at some point because you're like, I've learned how to tie my shoe. Now the kids, so I celebrate them, I give them a treat, but now I give them their talk. Now, nobody's going to tie your shoe anymore. And it's almost like while you're celebrating, you start kind of realizing, wow, I'm out here now. People know I have the ability to do this. And this is going to become the minimum expectation of my life. So when you have people in your group, on your team, as they begin to step up to the plate, some will not step up simply because they don't want the constant, ongoing pressure of having to be this good all the time. I mean, you can't bring in an A you can't bring an A in the house on the first quarter and then drop down to a C. You know, everybody's like, oh, what's going on? You're going backwards because success has this way of exposing you and saying, hey, you can do that. So success is an automatic eviction from the herd mentality. That means what identifies you from everyone else is your ability to step up to the plate. But once you step up, you're out of the herd. You're put out there. And sometimes, especially in work environments where you're working with 4 or 5 people, there's this bond and this clique that starts going, that when someone in the clique sometimes starts trying to do better, there's this bickering going on. Has anyone ever experienced that? Mm-hmm. And you went to work, and you got the memo that we're here to do our best, we're here to help the organization along. I'm a very loyal person. That's part of who I am. It's in my DNA. When I do something, I only know one way to do it. That's all the way. So if I'm with you until you make me not be with you. And so when I used to be a trainer for the University of Phoenix, and I would go to work and say, let's make the organization better. What can we do today to make it better? And I realized everyone does not come to work with that mindset. There's some people who have just realized work is something I can do between partying on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Work is something I can do in between Facebook posts. And they're not there to actually further the organization. But when you identify yourself, as someone who wants to expand and further the organization's mission statement, that puts you out of the herd. Number 2, it exposes publicly your strengths and your critics.